The ayes to the right, 310. The noes to the left, 310.
Casting vote.
The ayes to the right, 310. The noes to the left, 310. Order. In accordance with precedent, and on the principle that important decisions should not be taken except by a majority, I cast my vote with the noes. Yeah. So the noes have it. By casting vote 311 to 310. That is the proper way in which to proceed. We come now. Unlock! Yes, of course, we will come to the next vote, but of course, point of order, Sir Patrick McLaughlin.
Mr. Speaker, I cannot recall when this was last happened. I'm sure you have been told the precedent. Perhaps you'd like to inform the House as to when it was last happened.
I mean, my recollection, and I've been saying this for years across the country to audiences, so I hope it's right, is that the last occasion on which the Speaker had to exercise a casting vote was in 1993, and I believe, I'll be corrected by the Honourable Gentleman for Stone if I'm wrong, that it was appertaining to the Maastricht Treaty bill. I say to the right honourable gentleman for Derbyshire Dales, I'm probably pushing my luck here in the face of such an established authority as the honourable gentleman member for Stone, but I think it was on an amendment relating to the social chapter, and it was an amendment in the name of the then leader of the opposition, I believe, and Speaker Boothroyd cast her vote in the way that she did against that amendment. And the rationale, I say this as much for the benefit of new members as of others, for the exercise of the casting vote is, as I've said, that it is not for the chair to create a majority that doesn't otherwise exist. Now, the way in which the casting vote is exercised does also depend upon the stage at which a matter is being aired. So, for example, it would be exercised differently, or it could be, and probably would be, on the second reading of the bill, where there is an important principle of encouraging further debate, and it might then be used to send a bill into committee where it's not going to get to the statute book straight away, but if it's the final stage of a bill, the casting vote would be against. And in a situation in which a decision would be made that a day would be allocated for particular business, I judge that it's not right for me to make that decision if the House hasn't, by a clear majority, done so. I hope that's clear and generally acceptable. No more required. I am being teased mercilessly by the honourable gentleman member for East Worthing and Shoreham, and possibly by others. Well, I thought it was he. But anyway, people were saying more. They don't want more at all, although I think the member for Stone usually does want more. Point of order, Sir William Cash.
Simply say I quite understand the way in which that decision was arrived at. I did refer briefly to the question of Mr. Speaker Denison's ruling, but of course it so happens that there is this strange situation in which this particular bill should be about the European issue, in which the Maastricht Treaty also was extremely important.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't want to tease the honourable gentleman, but I think in Hugo Young's book there's a whole chapter about the honourable gentleman. The honourable gentleman is not only an historical figure, some people might think the honourable gentleman is a world historical figure. Point of order, Mr. Mike Gapes.
Speaker, those of us who were here in 1993 and who took part in that vote will recall that the Speaker, Speaker Boothroyd, gave her casting vote for the government at that time because there was thought to be a tie. On reflection, the next day, it was discovered that, in fact, the government had won the vote by a majority of 1, and therefore the Speaker had complied with what would have happened anyway. Can we be certain that this tie is actually...
Order. I understand people want to move on, but we must just hear the rest of the point of order. Mr. Mike Gapes.
Can we be certain that this tie is accurate? And if subsequently it appears that there has been an inaccuracy, will we be able to revisit this exact motion in future?
What I would say to the honourable gentleman is that none of us, myself included, has Kantian perfect information on this subject. Witness that there was some uncertainty. But what I think I can vouchsafe to the honourable gentleman without causing any offence is that insofar as there was some uncertainty about the vote, the uncertainty was whether it was 310 each or whether, in fact, in the view of one government whip, not advanced with great certainty, but it was his belief that it might be the case that, in fact, the government had secured 311 votes. So I don't think there is any suggestion that the decision has worked against the right honourable gentleman, the member for Leeds Central. In the event that there were an error, I think, if he'll forgive me, I think I'll resort to the Willie Whitelaw defence at this stage, and that is to say that let's cross that bridge if we come to it. But I'm not anticipating that we'll do so, and I thought it prudent to ask the government chief whip and the opposition chief whip to confirm, and they did so, as far as I know, amicably, and they appeared to reach an agreed conclusion. So there is no need to create a row on top of all other rows where there is none. Point of order, Mr. Kevin Brennan.
Well, Mr. Speaker, that also was my understanding of that previous vote in 1993. But can he clarify, just for information to the House, if the vote that's been announced is the vote based on the whip's count or on the clerk's count?